Alrighty guys, so it is a cold Monday morning. I haven't been wanting to work lately because it is cold out. It's about 50 degrees today, so good a day as any. I bought this here S13 with an SR20 swap, and it's got a nightmare of issues. There's a couple thousand things going wrong, mainly vacuum leaks. And then some electrical. So the goal right now is we want to get this car nice and clean and somewhat reliable and flip it for some money, I guess, or do something with it. I got the car for a steal of a deal, and whether it's here for profit or we actually end up driving this car and using it on track days, I don't know yet. But at this point in time, I'm pretty sure that it's going to get flipped. Let me give you guys a little walk around. It's disgusting and it's really gross. So I got the pressure washer out, which is real fun to do in Arctic weather. We got a radiator, an intercooler, not much of an intercooler either. A blow-off valve, a trillion vacuum leaks from the PCV system. It's just so filthy, it's hard to even see what's going on. I see a rat's nest of wiring issues that need to be taken care of. We need a real fan on here. The manual fan seems to be what's best on these SR20s. Electric fans don't seem to do it usually. We got a power steering leak because this hose caught fire against the turbo. We got another manifold that's gonna go on because that one right there is burning the silicone coupler. But everything's so gross, I don't want to touch it. So we'll wash this thing up. Now what I'm thinking is that I want to get it all cleaned up and nice and maybe warm the truck up and run down to my friend Jay's shop and do a smoke test. That way I can identify all of the vacuum leaks, because when you're running mass air, which is when you have a mass airflow sensor before the intake, it's really crucial that you don't have any vacuum or boost leaks because the engine's really dependent on that. The other method of running an ECU is speed density, where you have a map sensor in the intake manifold and you go off map and RPM. That does not care about any leaks at all, but SR20s on stock ECUs really care about leaks. Guys, I'm sorry I'm boring you guys with a lot of the tech stuff and a lot of the car prep stuff. I really just want to be showing off us having fun with them. But it's been a little hard lately with COVID and a lot of track shutdowns. They canceled Winter Jam on us and stuff. So I'm in here working on the S13, and I've found probably 50 of the 100 vacuum leaks. All right, so the first one was this fuel pressure regulator, had a T on it. A vacuum line ran into the cab that would have gone to a boost gauge, and it was disconnected on the other side. So we ran a new piece of hose there, and we now have fuel pressure. The next one was we had a line down here with an adjustable boost controller on it that just went to nowhere. So we got a vacuum cap on that. We found a couple hundred leaks in this. So that right there is the breather. None of it seals to anything. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections of hose here that are all leaking. So I think that if I can make all that seal up airtight, it'll run quite a bit better. That I got this from could not figure out why it wouldn't work. So we're gonna start out with, here's a jumper wire, an extension to the O2 signal. I just found O2 sensor unplugged in there. We've got water lines that don't fit. You can't even fucking see them. Water lines that don't fit to feed the turbo. And they're all fancy braided steel AN. And it was a complete waste of money and time. Makes it way less reliable. The steering rack down there caught fire against the turbo because that barb right there. Whoop, come on, please adjust camera. I'm sorry guys, I'm so sorry. Because that barb is turned the wrong way. This braided line right here comes up and it rubs against everything else, and it's like a saw. It'll saw all that stuff apart. So that's all clocked wrong. It needs to be ran in a way where it's not gonna rub on everything and saw it apart. You can see the marks right there. These are really good at sawing things apart with a little bit of vibration. There's an oil cooler that they ran through the radiator that has a hole in it, and they zip tied it to the radiator, so it's actually warming the oil up. So there's a couple hundred things wrong with it right now. The biggest thing is cleaning it all up so that everything is sealed and so that it's not going to be a fucking fire hazard. So this just went from the heater core. There was a plastic 3-way splitter and just a million junctions that were all going to fail, to an AN adapter that's threaded with hose on it. Oh my god. And that goes to the turbo water cooling right there, that blue AN. And this literally never had a chance of working ever. So I had to pull these bolts out of the back of the head, which are a nightmare, and I got to take all this out and throw it away. None of which are reusable. Here's some clamps we'll be reusing. The ground strap we'll reuse later. It was in the wrong spot where it wasn't useful. Here we had that many junctions, which is unacceptable. Obviously one of them broke over there already. Let's see here. This was wrapped in a loop around the back of the head, so you can't work on anything. Throttle body coolant bypass. Let's see. Hood, weather stripping those in the way. PCV that is the wrong size outside diameter and too big and can't seal. So fucking with our mass airflow sensor reading. Some shit that just cuts your hands up. It was on one of the electrical connectors. What was this? More general fuckery, probably part of that breather system. This here was a fat, just straight air leak right to the fuel pressure regulator junction. So with all that stuff out, it should run significantly. So I found this extra radiator hose in the trunk. This one here has a splice in it so that they could run some kind of a coolant temperature gauge to it, which is not in the car. So just because it's so much more reliable to have less splits and less clamps, we're gonna put. Alrighty. Hey, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? My name is Kevin. His neighbor, I guess, and getting rid of this plastic dip on this shit.
So we're working on one of my SR20 DET swapped S13s today. For some reason, the wheels are plastic dip purple and the car's black. It doesn't make sense. So while he's working on this wheel over here with the pressure washer and stripping all that plastic dip off, I am over here beating out, they used an ATV and a tire to try and push this car onto a trailer when the previous owner bought it. Fucking dumbass, right? I am over here with my trusty welded sledgehammer, with all the interior torn apart, beating that panel back out. I got these new taillights. So as you can imagine, those dumbasses not only broke the taillights, but also pushed that panel in. So we're gonna pop that panel out the rest of the way, give it a couple more hits with the chisel and a smaller hammer, and then put in the new taillights. Alrighty guys, so I'm gonna give you a progress report. It's getting pretty warm out here in the Vegas heat, and I'm supposed to go golfing for my friend's birthday. So here's what we're going for, is we've got to get rid of them purple wheels and make everything look slick like that. Alright. Also, we got the taillights in and some of the water spots scrubbed off of the car a little bit. So we're gonna scrub all the water spots off the car, buff it, and get all these wheels back to black. We got a passenger window regulator fixed. So tomorrow, I'm gonna focus on getting all them windows cleaned, pull this bumper off, cut the pig nose holes out for more airflow, sand it down and paint it, and we'll see more of this car later. What up, YouTube? So today I'm playing around with the SR20 S13 again. I think I just found all of the AC parts, so I'm gonna have an SR20 hatch with full interior and air conditioning. I'm gonna give you a walk around of it real quick. All right, so to start out, I have spent a lot of hours on this. When I bought the car, I was not expecting to spend this many hours. I have got an appointment scheduled for the body shop, and they are going to get all the water spots off of it, so it looks like that, and then buff the ever-loving hell out of it, so it looks like a new car. Got plastic dips stripped off the wheels. The motor was running great, naturally aspirated, but it was extremely slow, and the turbo was getting excessively hot, above 1300 degrees because it was glowing red. I figured out what it was. The knock sensor had an issue. It no longer has that issue. The car rips. It's fast, makes about 7 pounds of boost currently, although that's going to go up very soon. It rips. It's fast. I've cruised around Red Rock Canyon. I've gone and flipped a couple donuts in it. Hopefully I'll go to the Vegas S-turn soon. Earlier today, I put a brand new brake booster in it to get a perfect pedal feel. I did this. Thank God my keys are in here. So I got gauges in here because these were all just empty pods. So we have an AEM wideband. I don't have power to it yet, so don't hate me. But car starts up super smooth and easy and quiet. So we got a boost gauge in there, a wideband gauge in there. I'm gonna work on getting the tack fixed today because it's not working currently. And then, what else did I want to do? Oh, tonight I'm also going to pull this bumper off. And I've already cut out a vertical support fucky-do that goes in here that didn't look very right with the intercooler. And I needed as much airflow as I can possibly get through this to reduce intake air temps. I'm going to come in here real quick and cut out these pig nose holes. I want to sand it and paint it, but that's not on the schedule tonight. But I definitely want to promote as much airflow as I can get, because even though you would think this is liquid cooled, it's really air cooled. We need to push as much air as we can through there on a hot track day when it's 100 plus degrees. And I'm planning on taking this to Vegas Drift night drifting session on July 9th. So I want to get it all buttoned up for running in super high heat, even though it's at nighttime. Yeah, car's looking way better. Taillights are pretty sweet. So I'm gonna get to it. Alrighty, so there's the bumper on the ground behind me. Really enjoying this afternoon. Right now it's not very hot out, so I can get a little work done. So we're gonna cut these out. Real quick, I'm also going to show you a list of all the stuff that got done to this car that I wasn't quite expecting to do when I picked it up. But now that it's done, you don't got to worry about it. It's one hell of a sorted car that I've been through almost every single thing on it now. All right, so for my first cut, I used the cutoff wheel, and I came from the outside, and I cut this top edge. Just clearing away some of the melted plastic from the cutoff wheel, so you can see there's a cut in the edge. The rest of it I think I'm gonna have to do from the backside because it'll probably be the only way that we'll reach. But there's one cut. Alrighty, so I actually came from the outside again and just ran the cutoff wheel down there and down there. Alrighty, there's one of them knocked out. I figured it's easiest to use the Sawzall to get these in cuts, although it was easiest to use the cutoff wheel to get the horizontal cut. Alrighty, so after some trimming with the file there, that's what I've got. I'm not scuffing and painting tonight like I wanted to because I don't have enough time. But as far as frontal airflow, that's 2 more holes sitting right here that are going to be allowing air to get through that radiator. And especially with the extreme heat that I see down here in the southern half of America from Florida to Las Vegas, and just all kinds of stuff. We need to promote as much airflow as we possibly can through that radiator and through that engine bay to cool everything off, because during a 100-mile-an-hour pull in this car, you'll be on the gas for quite a while, and it just generates a lot of heat, and you got to be able to mitigate that. My lines actually came out really clean when it's installed on the car. I know it's hard to tell because of the bad paint that's on this current bumper cover, but you can see right through the radiator fins. Look, if I go right there, you can see a lot, and that's a very good sign that we're gonna be cooling this off plenty. One more note for anybody on the tech side is obviously we need to get air through that radiator. Some people think bigger fans, electric fans, all kinds of stuff, but there's a whole nother step that a lot of people don't think about. You need to evacuate heat after here. That means having a 1-inch hood riser here, so there's and ripping out this rubber strip that goes across so that there's a vent so air can flow from there out of the engine bay, because you need to evacuate heat everywhere. In a regular car, there's a lot of stuff for noise mitigation that seals up the engine bay so you can't hear the engine, and you depend largely on flowing air through the transmission tunnel. But on cars that are being asked, that we are demanding such high performance out of, you not only need to force air in, force air through, and force frontal area, get frontal area, well, you know what I'm trying to say, get air through there, but you have to get it out too. Everything you get in has to come out, because you can't just depend on whatever's going to go through the transmission tunnel being enough air evacuation. So on this car, I don't necessarily like the look, but there's a good chance I'm going to buy a 1-inch hood riser so that the hood would stick up to here and then taper down and come flush at the headlights, just to promote that reliability. And I get to throw more boost and timing at it if I can evacuate the heat, which means I go faster. Check this out. That's the turbo snail right there. There's the headlights, there's the turbo snail. I just went for a very, very short run. Just interesting to see. So I'll be uploading a second episode about building this SR20 hatch. After that episode, everything should be all done on it, and it should be a fairly complete finished car. And every time it gets featured on the channel after that, it should just be driving videos and maybe some driving tips, jumping it over train tracks, drifting, going to drift events, and it should only be driving action after this second upload. So I hope I'm not boring you too much with the build of this car, letting you guys know what it is and what it's going to turn into, because there's a lot of exciting driving to come with it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you soon.